Let's review the global credit crisis, which looks something like this, and its influence it has on government, on companies, and consumers, as well as the impact it has on economic freedom. So there's really three scenarios. Liquidity, which are assets that can be easily converted to cash, so kind of the pipe. Solvency, which is having more assets than liabilities, which is equity, which serves as the pump. And the financial system itself, which is a bunch of brokers and bankers, commonly known as Wall Street, which is the house in this scenario. So this whole financial system helps to link people that want to spend money and invest on projects, so like buying a house. So the crisis comes into play is when these financial systems starts introducing subprime mortgages to folks that can't afford credit, and then there's an impact in the actual flow and with the pumps, which results in a lot of foreclosures and more supply than demand, and things starts to plummet. So the impact it has on the government, you will see them, for example, introduce new policies and implement economic action plans to stimulate the economy. So this could take form into tax breaks or grants to motivate people to spend. Conversely, to get ahead of the curve, they might introduce some rates, spikes in rates to discourage people from borrowing too much money, and encourage people to save and produce and build equity. So that would kind of help prevent some crises. As it relates to the impact on companies, as you might think, that they'll look for ways to save money. So that might take form of looking at the supply chain and looking for ways to outsource to save some cash. You might also see layoffs and mass layoff to save some on overhead. Some companies might decide to close some of their offices and relocate to somewhere a little more favorable, where the economy is a little more green. And in some extreme cases, some companies might have to shut down permanently as they can no longer operate. In regards to the impact and the influence on consumers, as mentioned before, you'll see people start paying their mortgages and foreclosing. As debt continues to mount, they might have to file for bankruptcy as a means to solve their debt issues. Less extreme, they might just stop spending and focus on saving, and by doing so, this will have an impact on the cash flow in the economy, as you'll have less money coming in, obviously by the savings. As it relates to economic freedom, which is basically where people have the right to work, produce, consume, save, invest in the way that they prefer. And some of the dimensions are business, financial freedom, government size, and such. You can see the right hand side. So ultimately what's going to happen, the impact on economic freedom, you'll see unemployment rate go up as companies stop look for ways for downsizing and look for efficiencies. It's going to create some issues with financial prosperity, economic stability, and overall standards of living. So in summary, liquidity, solvency, and the financial system really is in place to help the consumer tie to the investments, to the projects. And if there's issues with this entire system, these three scenarios, everybody's going to feel it. So be it the government, companies, consumers, or in general the economic freedom in that region. So that kind of sums it up. Thank you.
Created using Powtoon.